Hello, and this is Divine Sunshine. I am giving myself a little challenge. Um, it is always, and I know last time I had did this, talk about Will and Jada Smith, how it was a controversial, especially on this channel. I lost some subscribers because some of them believed that I was idolizing them. I believe that in every relationship, in everything that you see in life, there is a lesson that you can learn because I believe that we all are one in some ways. And so, in that dynamic of relationship or whatever we're seeing that's happening, there's a reflection of what's going on inward as well as outwards. When I look at the relationship, my mom had told me, and it said, what's your take on what's happening with Jada and Will Smith? And I was like, you know, beforehand when I had seen them, I believe that really in their heart of hearts, that Jada and Will Smith, in this whole scheme of life, are coming to show a new templating of a relationship dynamic that again is really going against the stream, that is really going against the curve of what we know as normalcy as in a relationship. And they have shown that even in the dynamic of how they raise their children, accepting them as far as how they're expressing themselves through their fluidity of them being asexual or whatever way that they have at one point. The oldest, the boy, was showing and expressing himself wearing dresses and things like that, allowing for Willow to be able to have a relationship with, I remember the guy that was controversial then, and like, but they're friends, and then she's taking pictures, all that other stuff, and I'm not getting all into that to get off the scope of things, but my thing is that Jada has always, to me, when I seen her, carried a spirit of the explorer, meaning that she's always wanted to kind of explore and experience life. And it, to us, think about like the old folks say that they, again, with her, grass don't grow underneath her feet, which means that she's so much on the go that nothing can kind of be developed. Now, if you know the backstory of Jada, I know she's coming out with the book. There has been a lot of stuff going on as far as, again, with her mother, really stability as far as in her family, as far as, again, that dynamic, really having a strong foundation, in some ways, pretty much growing herself or being her own parent because of what's going on, and the lifestyle of Hollywood and all that other stuff and extra stuff, and how she came into Will's life. Now, if we transfer and we go over to Will's side, we think about with Will, two-parent home, stability. I think the father was military. Very much in his life and world is coming from a standpoint of principles, values, militant, like you heard him say about how his father is strict. You do this, you get this. There is also more of a linear, let's put it that way, process that he's learned on. Jada, not so much. It ain't linear. It's more so fluid. I'm on the path, I'm off the path. I'm on the path, I'm off the path. So now you got two of these two frequencies, if you talk about spiritually, coming together. And again, at the beginning, it seems like the illusion of it. This was a match made in heaven. You here it is. This again, Fresh Prince, rapper, but again, never been pretty much looked upon as being a bad boy. And you got Jada again, this free, hippie, 60s vibe, energy. So I'm all over the place. And now you look at that and say, all right, that's a nice dynamic. He's opening him up into new experiences. Well, so as Will Smith is kind of like, okay, I'm gonna be the anchor. I'm gonna be the stability here. You know, like when you fly off so much, I think about like the balloon. I'm here to kind of anchor it down and say, hey, Jada, you know, this. Jada, some kind of way down the progress of it is I'm tapping into, became, I want to say train wreck. Not a train wreck, but she went on, you've had those kind of dynamics like that where they're a little too fast and the furious. You know, it's like a person handling a Porsche or a race car, and they get in and just a little bit of the touch of the pedal, and you're just like, whoa, wait a second. You know, and you got to learn how to handle it. And some days you can, and some days it's like it just overtakes you. It's just too much power to handle. Their relationship has truly shown more so of the karmic dynamic now, okay? Not saying at the beginning that it was divine or not, but right now it is showing the karmic dynamic where it is two souls or spirits or humans trying to still hold on to something that, again, that right now the dynamic and the frequencies are not matching. Matter of fact, it's becoming like it's showing me like a tsunami, or it's like it's spinning and one energy is getting sucked up into the other until the other one is lost. I got a ring on that. I In my email this morning, I woke up and I seen some one of my therapist things that I have, that they sent me because I have an organization that deals with the mental and for children, and it's sent about betrayal trauma. And I found it interesting that a lot of the things that they're saying, that again, and for him, for Will, he has been betrayed. And I believe that he's been betrayed on several levels. He's been betrayed for Jada and the way that in some ways she presented herself, that he in some ways thought that maybe in the dynamic of things, in the scheme of things, that he was going to be able to handle that relationship or that dynamic. He has been betrayed also because she did, again, was caught in entanglement. And that again is a hurting thing as well, as far as betrayal. And now he's going through the process of being betrayed again through this interview, which now Jada is saying, you know what, I don't know what was going on through his head. He has changed. I'm concerned about him. And, we haven't been called, he called me wife, and we ain't been called man and wife or husband and wife in 6 to 7 years. That's a betrayal because in his mindset, you got to remember again what I say, he comes from morals and values and ethics. That's been drilled in him. He's also said in interviews that I have watched where he stated that I'm not getting the divorce. I'm going to hang in here. We're going to do whatever it is and whatever it takes not to have that happen. So I'm going to stay in it. And so that's where they got that bad marriage for life thing from. Okay, and they're both saying that they're not going to do that. This is where it curves the relationship, and now it has taken a karmic turn. Now, when we talk about karma, I'm not talking about, okay, he did what she cheated now, or he cheated because he said that he went on and had him an extramarital affair too. So he's like, well, if you stepping, I'm stepping. Hey, how about that? We're not talking about in that dynamic. We're talking about, when we're talking about karmic, we're talking about karmic, which is lessons. What is it that they have to learn? At this point where they are is they've got to learn that the very thing that they don't want to do is the very, very thing that's going to give them freedom. Will does not want to divorce. She wants the cane going in there. She said that in several interviews that she believes that now, in hindsight 2020, that Tupac is now her soulmate. It might very much so be, because then back then they were just friends. They were more so like brothers and sisters. I think Tupac was interested in her, if I remember correctly, and she was like, "No, you know, we just brothers." Or she said that they never did look at it that way. Maybe I might be picking into Tupac's thing, because Tupac to me looked like he's like, hey, everybody's in some ways it's an opportunity, okay, and again for a relationship to build. You know, he wasn't didn't have no discrimination about race, creed, or color, okay, and all of that uh, was an opportunity to connect and to love. I'll clean it up for you, Tupac. Okay, and so that's the best one I heard. I like Madonna. Oh my Lord, they look like two. Don't matter. And Madonna and every woman that has fell or connected, I was about to say underneath your spell, has in a lot of ways, they madly fall for him. Okay, it ain't no thing about the eyes. He told me, he said, don't worry about it. You know, I got game. I said, I'll trust and believe I know. About that. And so everybody would be able to, you know, again, I call it fall underneath his spell. So she was one, Jada said that she was not. But now looking hindsight, that might have been a missed opportunity. And then you hear Willow Smith say, you know, my mom goes on and on and on about Tupac. And I really wish she had the opportunity to went on ahead and had got some closure with that. This now has been, and I remember also that the comedian Earthquake had said that Jada Pinkett didn't love Will Smith, and one reason why he said, and that's when it fresh came out from the slap with Chris Rock, is because of he was like, she didn't grab his arm, she didn't stop him, she didn't say, no, don't do this, this is not the time and place. She just left that. Well, see, now we see in retrospect that she didn't do that, because she's like, we ain't even in that place no more. And so what you're doing is acting on your own. Like you going up there, what's that about? Oh, this what we doing? Oh, so you slapped? Okay, all right. I don't know what to really do with that information, because we ain't in that place like that. And so that was really a telling place. And then she said that again, it's because of old stuff, because Chris really hollered at her back in the day when they first had thought rumors had been split. My mom always told me, you know, some rumors have truth. And it probably was then, again, on the verge of letting go there. And that happened. And so all of it. So, you know, I always said when it happened that uh, that was something deep within. I said, what's that? I said, he doing just like I tell sometimes in the classroom with the kids, don't mess with me before I get you for everything that's been done to me. Like, so don't do that. Go sit down, because I might just go off. And then you like, where that come from? All of whatever the stress I'm going through. Because at that time I used to say that saying, and then my dad was having some hospital issues, and it was just relationship issues and all of that stuff. So I knew I was going to release the cannon on them if that happens. So I always say, go sit down, don't keep messing with me, because if you do, I'm going to release everything that's been done to me on you. So that's the same thing that Will Smith did. Instead of him doing that, you know, he just went on ahead and did that. And saying my wife, well, that's a man thing, that's ego, which is again staking my claim. Let me just remind you that you ain't got no title behind your name, that she's mine. She signed the papers. She said I do to me. She didn't say I do to you. So that's what that ego stuff was about. And him saying my wife, but she said, I don't understand what he said about my wife, where that come from. Well, that's where that came from, on that one, like again. And in his mind, like I said, him through the values and the morals and the virtues, we signed a paper, you still my wife. I don't care about what the standards of you entanglement or whatever, we entangled through this paper that we signed. And so that's where he's at with that. But I also think about, this is again through the karma of how, again, you not keep on linking and connecting yourself with something that, again, is not really of your highest good at this point, and how it's getting deeper and deeper hole as far as how Will Smith is now being viewed. Because at this point, again, Will Smith was having those motivational videos, everything. Everybody's almost, he was down there almost, I want to be like Mike, everybody's, I want to be like Will Smith, things of that nature. And again, when you're dealing with those karmic situations or those relationships, it has a thing to, and I can hear my grandma saying, stuff, sugar turns to it real fast. Because again, what started off, and again, as a, what we would say by illusions of looking at things as a blessing, now it's kind of starting to turn into a not so nice, I want to say curse. Because now the universe is now giving a signal to say it's time to let go, because now you're messing into everything. The gift I gave you, which is acting, the gift I gave you to motivate, the gift I'm doing this. And this is a lot of times, I know in the spiritual community where we had said this before, that if you stay in that karmic situation a little too long, when the opening of the cycle has been given to you, things is going to start turning sour. Okay. And so this is where we are. And so some of you all want to see, like, how does the karmic situation or the cycles or the things of that, this is right now is this point. And not saying that it can't be revived, it can't be regenerated. With that, it's a lot of healing that's got to go on, because when I read the information about the betrayal trauma that Will is going through, that slapping, that's a byproduct of that. The anger, not being able to express, feeling that you've been betrayed, and it's a lot of things that he's got to kind of go through with that. Being there and still being with that trigger, I'm pointing to Jada, being in the same compounds, living in that. I would say, to me, my advice would say, to me spiritually, give it a break. I think you need to kind of really just get out of each other's space, period. Not living in that compound where, you about 5,200 feet away. I don't know where I came from, for me about that, in square footage. I mean, like, literally, like, hey, you live in California, I'm living over here in New York right now in a high-rise apartment right now. This is the space. This, to me, when I look at it, reminds me also a little bit about even with my parents' relationship. I can understand you staying in it for the kids. That's not really understandable, because, again, like I told my mother the other day, Willow and Jaden, both of them was old enough that I'm sure that both of them, when I look at them, they look like old souls, and they're very mature already. There's always an immaturity. There's always room for that in children. But they could look and see and say, hey, y'all ain't good for each other. I'm glad that you all came together to be my parents, but as far as that, we don't need to continue on with this connection at all. I know I said that to my parents. I was like, this is nice. You all are nice separate, but together, not the way y'all acting right now. Y'all need a break. And I told them that at age 9. This ain't working. For that. And it's the same thing. They probably seen the writing on the wall too. So I can understand even my mom. So I stayed in there because of the economic things and want to make sure you had a 2-parent home and da. Yeah, that is great. Some of that stuff is just, again, for your own security when you're saying that. And I can understand that too. As well, but it's still collateral damage staying in something like that as a kid. I can tell you that as a person that I am now at the age I am. It's like it might have been better for me to see you walk than you stay in there. Same thing with them. They're at the age now where they could be able to separate and walk away. And at this point, they should be able to, they'll be okay with it, and that helps also to reflect to the child, as well as saying that, hey, there's mom going for her happiness and for her peace, and now dad doesn't have to suffer anymore. Because you could look at Will had that when he first started out, had all that bright-eyed, real fresh prince, adventuresome things, still kind of wholesome. And now when you look at him now, all you just see is this sadness. There's just sadness in the eyes. He looked like he's just ready to break down at any moment, and you can see that. And it's a person you see that you don't want to see that in there. Because in some ways, being grown up like Will Smith was like a brother, in some ways. For me, because I know it's high school, and seeing him like that, it's like that funny, young, brother. Like, okay, that part. But where the dynamic is, to me, it's time to let go. And so I just wanted to pull this real quick. I didn't mean to. I had to set it up because, again, I was channeling and tapping into different spirits as well with them. But I just want to see what is going on. What's the lesson, clear, that needs to be learned from their karmic, what's the karmic lesson that needs to be learned right now between them two? Okay, Jada and Will. Their lesson that they got to learn is how to be able to say goodbye. A formal occasion honoring lives. Like right now, that's why I say, I feel like to me right now, they're just holding on to something dead. And again, and I'm looking at the wings are black. In order for them to fly and ascend and go to the next level, it's time to kind of let go of that pet. Remind me of like when my pet that passed away and my bestie came over and I was snot bubbling and everything, and I'm holding on to it, and she started my dog going and rigor mortis as I'm waiting for the people to come and get her so we could get her cremated from the pet's funeral home thing, whatever it's called. And that's the same thing. She's like, you ain't got no tissue? Because I mean, it was just snot. I could have gave Viola Davis a run for her money on them snot bubbles that day. And so this is, again, understanding it's time, death rights. That means it's time to slowly, again, give the sign of the cross and, again, say, peace go with thee to this whole situation. And, again, and with this, now we're going through this eclipse. And I understand that the next full moon that we're going to have in Taurus is about completions. Hopefully, and maybe in some ways, they might get to this point to say, you know what, I'm hearing the song, let's just kiss and say goodbye. So that might be where we are on this as well. Enlightenment, inspiration, epiphany, and innovation. This lesson is helping them to really begin to, they have inspired others through this relationship. Let's just, you got Jada with the red talk. I heard some people say, well, they just build on red talk with that interview, and, they should really have that stripped away because they really played on our heartstrings, and that wasn't really valid. They was just easy propaganda, more building on a brand, and that it was just built on a lie. Well, I wouldn't say that because, again, out of that red talk, again, was a lot of things, issues that Jada had brought to people's minds, some things that you didn't think about. Will Smith also through that helped us with the motivational things, and he's also, we're going to learn, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's also going to be able to help us to understand, how do you rise from the ashes from this? How do you rebuild and rebrand yourself? It's curious to see how that's going to end up being with Jada and Will after this. And that's going to also give us a lesson of how you be able, after the karmic storm is over, what do you do now? So again, and they're having some epiphanies about it. We're having some epiphanies looking at them too as well. And seeing as far as what is, I'll put the cards here, what it is as far as a relationship. And when things have really had gone bad and the writing is simply really on the wall, not to keep on pushing it. It's always remind me of my grandma saying that you keep on stirring in it, that, it more it stinks. And so we're going to keep on spending on sugar, honey, iced tea all the time in this. And we know that, it's been writing on the wall with the whatever is Calcino or whatever his name is, the young man. And then, now I go cheat because you cheat. And then, well, let's live in the same place, but let's be a little bit, you live on one end, the west wing, and I live on the east wing. Okay, now we just go out here, now I slap. Okay, the writing is on the wall. It's slowly building on a choo-choo train to crazy town. It's already been there. And this is something that they have to kind of remember. And it's got Black Cat. It's been a lot of this thinking, and it goes back to, again, I'm gonna stay married. I'm not gonna do it again. And I know that beforehand with Will, he didn't want to do that because of with his first marriage. And right then he has to remember that the circumstances are different. When he had did it the first time, Trey was young, and they had just got the house, were getting ready to get to the house, and that he was buying for them to move into. And then again, you moved in with Jada. And so there is a whole lot of interesting starts to stuff that, again, that in some ways there you thinking that it's going to repeat again because of how the son was hurt. He was hurt telling, and she was hurt. Sheree, what her name? Sheree was not Sheree, but it's something with the S sign with the first wife, and so that causes for an issue because she was very hurt about it. And so he's like, I don't want to go through that again. But see, it's different. Jada, in some ways, I think that Jada could pick up her bags and walk and not look back. You know, the only thing we had together, she probably be cool and bring the new beau in, and we'll be sitting there like, what the hell? Well, it didn't take you that long to bounce back. You know, so my thing is that, and I just see that, that it's not going to be, it's going to be, in some ways, no love lost, but it is going to be love lost, because I'm not going to paint her as being cold-hearted like that. But my thing is that, to me, when I tap into Jada's energy, it's like, you know, she understands that that's the cycle of things. That's how it is. I think that Will is going to get kind of stuck right there. And again, he's got to learn how to do that enlightenment, how to move on through that, and how to say goodbye. And like they said here, natural, authentic, real, organic. Got to get to the point that, again, they've been faking it till you make it. I've had, and I think this is why in some ways this kind of really touches me and hits home for me, is because I was with that when I was young. You know, my parents, they will be going at it verbally, and then we'll go out there and portray the little happy family, all three of us, little short, little cute little family. And they're like, oh, aren't y'all cute? You know, and then we come back and be back into the madness again. And so this is why this hits home, because I kind of do understand that this here, now this karmic thing, is about going now and going to your default setting, or being the natural you, or the authentic you, without apologies. And until then, I think that Jada has been real, but Will has not. But at the same time, I think Jada has not been real again, because she's got some distortion and some hurt and some feelings that she's got to deal with, that she can start looking and seeing things for what they truly are. And I don't think that Jada has gotten to that point. I think that when I tap into Will's energies, he can get there faster than Jada, because I think Jada still is a kind of a little bit in the, I'm hearing to say, fantasy world on some things. He probably say, honey child, no, I'm not, I don't understand. No, it's a little bit, and I got a ring on that. When I get a chime, that means it's divine. It's still some growing that's got to be done now. You know, it's always room for growth. With Will, I think this is going to hit him to be more organic and more real than ever before. And then really him reevaluating some of his, what I call the rules that he governs himself by, through this whole situation. And I think with Jada, it's going to get to a point to get more realer than, you know, it has been as well, because I kind of feel that she's kind of like a person that it's just interesting. You know, she kind of reminded me of that role I remember with Jill Scott to me, and it was some role she was playing, and the young lady was asking her advice about her trying to get with this guy. I think he was already in a relationship. She's trying to go with him, and she didn't know he was in a relationship, and she's like, go over to the house. And so the girl's like, I gotta go to the house. And I go to the house. She's like, okay. And then surprise him. Okay. And she get over to the house and she look at that. She said, oh my God, I see him with a woman. And she's like, okay. All right, there. Well, wait a second. You're at the house? Yeah, I'm at the house. Why are you at the house? Because you told me to come to the house. No, I didn't. I was just talking, and just like to be. She kind of seemed like a person that kind of set you up and pump you, and then at the back say, I didn't tell you to do that. Who told you to do that? So that's got to be tweaked with Jada as well. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I remember also when I was in college, her and our paths had crossed because I remember I had on an outfit and she's like, that's cute. I was going up the escalator and she liked what I had on. I was like, thank you. And, that part. So our past, that's another reason why that's kind of like together. What else is going on? Just as the back end of understand, I got my karmic cards to understand what's happening with them. And this is a little longer than I thought, but clear. This to me for us in the community is really to be able to see about how karmic lessons in a relationship pretty much so is in real time, just understanding the dynamics of staying in there as the Will Smith plays the masculine, and when all of the writing on the wall is saying no. So we got here the card. The other ones I can't show because they're a little risque. But we got wearing a mask here. And again, this is what's really is got to, and I see a 0, which to me, again, to be able to get natural, to go back to point 0. And the natural is 4. So they got to get grounded and rooted in this natural of who they truly, authentically are, beyond the spotlight, beyond the feelings of other people or the kids or how they think the others in the relationship is going to respond. But what's really good for them naturally, being authentic with that. 11 becoming balanced with that too as well. And then we see 2, which is again using their coming into unity and oneness with that. Interesting. We got 0 here, 2 and 3. We missing 1. And so there's some steps. That oneness is what's missing, and that's what they got to go back and revisit again too. This next picture here, we got a man, both of them in karmic. Right now, it's interesting in the card here. I have to almost do like this. In this card here, you see this, I'm not showing the whole thing there. She's got her booty tooted out. And so right now, through this situation, her A is showing. She got an A out. And she got a butt out. It's just all it's all out there. It's all being exposed. And I think even within the interviews, she is believing that again. He finds nurture in her, and that's again with the having betrayal trauma. There's that codependency of emotions, and he really is nurtured by Jada as well. But she's got it all out there on display. Okay, especially when we're talking about as far as unity as well. I don't know why I get Pillow Queen. Pillow Queen, that's one is this. It's all about me and sex, but you get whatever you get, your leftovers. I may return in return, but maybe not. I picking up that. I got a card that has that Pillow Queen. Pillow Queen. I said, what the heck is that? And so that's again somebody who again it's just all about me service. I'm seeing these pillows here, but there is candles here for them enlightenment, and there's wands there. So there's got to be some type of movement, some type of actions. 2 of wands here. We got 3 of cups here. So again, and for him, she's staying in her. She's got karma energies, which is, again, is a lot of lessons, a lot of things that she's learning. And that's why I say she wants to explore all the time through these relationships. If I look at it from the man's point, right, we got here in the, I'll cover it like this. When we look at the man, he's staying in his, I would say he's staying in a way of him trying to be able more spiritually connected than Jada is. Jada is really about learning the lessons, diving into the ego, getting to learn that much better and knowing about that. But she's learning it through these, she's having fun. He's again is looking into her to be a source of emotions and stability, and this betrayal through this trauma has thrown him off. And we got this Three of Cups, so it's always about the community, the sense of extending beyond just the relationship, but then outwardly, trying to see about other things, filling that cup. It's always a third energy in their dynamic, in their relationship, rather it's Tupac, or it's the fame, or it's her way of thinking, or his way of thinking. It's always a third energy that's in the mix with them, these three, okay, as well. What is the advice that Spirit, I had the bad deck, but I think that's kind of really about that, and I don't want to make it no more than 40 minutes. Clear. Is there anything, again, lasting? Oh, good. I like it when it does that. Six of Pentacles. So, again, this is all about the money. So, they really are heavily into this materialism stuff. And I would say that, again, is something that they'll probably tell me, no, 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 I'm not. You see me with my inspirational, and I'm talking about that. But this is in their state of being, and their accolades, and how they're getting their roses, and how they're growing. It's really, it's a material. I hear Madonna, it's material, a material, if it in a material world. It's material world. And I'm seeing this father here and all this other stuff in this road. About the news is in here. I'm seeing money. I'm seeing the moon that's got these illusions, that's got cloudiness. So they're not really in touch with their intuition and their awareness. And they're really about these illusions that they're putting up as well. And, you know, this road here. But this road is going to be able to put them on a new path so they can be able to truly depend on their intuition awareness. They're going to get a new intuition awareness, which is going to lead them back to them being their authentic self. In this whole scheme of things. So what does Spirit want to say? Well, how they're going to awaken. We're going to stop at 40. How they're going to be able to awaken. Clear. Okay, you went in, so you don't want to come out. Say meditate, but you did catch my eye. Right. So the Spirit says that they got to meditate. And to me, when it means meditate, is that, again, it's got to be some mindfulness practice. That's, again, it's going to help with that betrayal trauma that Will is dealing with. And she has it too, because you got to remember that when you talk about it in karmic situation, it's got to be a connection. Her mom, you know, again, you could be betrayed by a parent too in betrayal trauma as well. And so her mom betrayed her because she wasn't there. And I don't know the story about the dad. I just know the mom because that's pretty much been there. But the father too, okay. That too as well. Those two as well could be trauma, their betrayal. And that currently with him now, that's it. So to meditate is going to help them. Like I say, some cognitive behavior, something. You know, they named a whole bunch of stuff I seen there that they say how you can be able to get yourself back together if you feel that you have, and if that kind of resonates with you. Because they were saying about anger, those issues, and how it can be able to bring out a personality disorder as well. And I'm not an expert in that, but they were saying that's part of it too as well. And so that's something that's got to be investigated. So I said meditate again into self-grounding, and they say surrendering to the process, surrendering to where it's going, surrendering where you see in the writing is clearly on the wall. Excuse me, I'm belch, which means again they got to release fear on that one, and then also just surrender, okay? and surrendering, going with the flow of the emotions where it's taking you, and understanding that I'm seeing this boat here, that you're in charge of the boat, where you're going, and not having that, they said again, that codependency. That's really one of the reasons why, because I depend on you for your emotional, your safety, my security, and then here you go here and do this. And so now it's just like my whole world is all up. And so how do I deal with that? I deal with it through anger. I deal with it through depression. I deal through it, so much, and drugs or whatever, alcohol or whatever kind of things like that, and vices, and vice versa. But I just wanted to really, this has been something, again, like I said, for several reasons why I have been attracted, or I have really been intrigued by their situation, because it does remind me on so many kind of in levels about reflection about my family or my home life dynamic as well. And so I can be able to kind of give some enlightenment or to shed some light on this. Okay, so this is different entertainment. It's not a thing, but again, like I said, I always believe that art imitates life. And there's always, from somebody else's life, again, we're connected as one. There's something that we can always learn from each other's challenges, triumphs, struggles, that we can say, hey, I seen the recipe for how you dealt with that, and I might want to take this ingredient out, or I might want to add this to it in order for me to have success in living my own life. All right, then, as always, subscribe to this channel, hit like to this channel. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste and Namago. Love you. Until next time.